Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Videomail for the week of June 18th, 2012. Welcome to the site to all you new members and welcome back to the old members. The Ask Videomail is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one, but I need your question if I'm going to answer it. So please send your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I go through all the questions and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and it's the best way to get the most out of your subscription. No, really, it really is the best way. So you should do it if you haven't already. Don't be shy. Send a question in, please. And you can even send me your Maya file. I love to open up Maya files. It's the best. A little bit of news. The affiliate program. I'm going to take that video off the homepage, but still the affiliate program is open for all. As I said in the video mail last week, it is not some big, crazy, like difficult to do official kind of thing. Basically, if I'm going to simplify it down, it's a way that you can just get a link that you should use from now on. Anytime you link KennyRoy.com. On your blog, on your Facebook, Twitter, in emails, like anytime you ever send a link to KennyRoy.com, you should get this link. Because what it does is anytime someone clicks on it, if they make a purchase in the store or they sign up for a subscription, you make a commission immediately, and you make a commission every single month that they are signed up to the site. So it's continuous, and it's that easy. You sign up, it takes 15 seconds to sign up, and it's free. So check out the affiliate program. I'm going to take the video off the homepage down, but it'll still be open, of course. Some other exciting news. I'm almost ready to open the production blog for The Little Painter. Kickstarter backers who pledged $250 or above are all invited in. I'm also going to be doing some, putting out just little nuggets here and there for everybody else. But if you really want to be like behind my shoulder, looking at all of the imagery coming to life, then that is the reward level that you had to pledge to. So that's going to be soon, and I'm also going to be putting up the artist application. If you want to work on The Little Painter, then just keep an eye on KennyRoy.com. It's going to go in the newsletter as well, but just keep an eye on KennyRoy.com and you will get the opportunity to apply. And I'm looking very much forward to seeing everybody's applications and going through them and figuring out who I want to work with and what's going to happen. It's going to be very, very, very exciting. I hope you're excited because I'm stoked. And let's see, last piece of news, Animalia is getting a lot of attention and a lot of press. David, the organizer, is doing a great job. If you don't know what that is, I'm teaching a course on short film production in the Czech Republic in September. Applications are closed, but you can still support us. Check out the Animalia forum that I opened in the forum. I'm going to be posting some stuff in there. People are going to join and see that. And consequently, I'm also writing a book. I was approved for my new book on making short films. And it's going to be awesome. It's actually more of a workflow book. There's plenty of creative books and how to go through the creative process of making a film. This is more of a creative meets workflow, how to actually get it done. So if you've ever wanted to make a short film, I'm writing this book for you, and I'll give you more updates on that, how when it's going to come out, how you can get your hands on that, and all that stuff. Let's see. I think that's all for news. If there's anything else, you'll see it in the member blog. Check the member blog. Also check the public blog because I announce some stuff every once in a while in there. But also the newsletter is a good way. So if you haven't signed up to the newsletter, there is a link on the sidebar. Just down the page, about halfway down, it says sign up for the newsletter. You should do that if you haven't already. Okay? Great. Let's get to the question. It's a good one. You're going to like it. Great question. So I do say this a lot. I say that I like to block with a fundamental approach. What that means is that I am using the fundamentals to inform my choices of what my poses are going to be. Maybe that's not even clearer. Let me try to make that a little bit clearer. What it means is my poses, they could be just, you know, what I drew and what I had in my mind. But once I get into 3D and I see how movement is happening and building and kind of going through the space, I start getting ideas on how the fundamentals are actually making themselves a part of the scene. Rather than animating an entire scene and saying like, oh, now I need to do an overlap pass and just sprinkle in some overlap into my scene. What I see is I have someone like taking a big step or whatever, like the overlap that is on the body actually makes me, it kind of inspires me and makes me want to like have it in there so that I know I can adjust it. What I've likened it to, I've made this comparison before, especially if you've seen the advanced workflow lecture, which is in the store. And I do mention it in passing in the workflow walkthrough 1, 2, and 3. That's in the store as well. But I liken it to knobs. I call them knobs. So let's take a look at what I mean. What knobs means is if you look right here, we have a mixing board. This is a mixer for audio, but it makes a lot of sense for this comparison with animation. Every single one of these columns of knobs is a channel in audio, okay? And what that equates to in animation is like an animation curve, okay? So if I know that there's overlap on one of these curves, then I can adjust it. I can grab this slider and move it up and down, okay? And what's great about that is I don't ever have to think to myself, okay, now I have to put in this fundamental, or now it's time to add things that are not in there. All I'm ever doing after the blocking phase is just adjusting, okay? And the way I think about these fundamentals is what impact they have on the performance. And that's very important. Your performance is basically a conglomeration of all your fundamentals if you built your scene using the fundamental approach. The example I like to give in the advanced workflow lecture, for instance, is a guy walking. If he's walking in the direction, the performance is supposed to be they're very sad, then they're going to probably be very overlappy, you know, as they're walking in their spine. And you can say, it's easy to make this comparison. Basically, overlap in the spine is how sad this character is. So if you wanted to make this character a little bit sadder, then you would just adjust the overlap. So instead of just like walking like this, he'd be bent over more in general. So grab that whole curve and bring it down, and then scale it so that he's overlapping even more on each step. And he just looks so sad. Right? It's that simple. Using the fundamental approach, we can equate our fundamentals in our scenes to performance choices. So that's basically what this says, and that's the idea behind this. So when we are building a scene and when we're starting on a scene, I just like to, the question was on overlap, I just like to make sure that my poses contain enough of the fundamental of overlap, if we're going to use just that one as an example, that it's clearly there and I can adjust it accordingly when it's time to move on with the scene. Okay, so I'm going to open up, actually, let's see here. I'm going to open up one of the scenes from the little painter, which is the scene that I animated for the 24-hour animation marathon. And I believe it's in stepped mode, which is perfect for blocking. And so here we have it. Let me just make sure that my preferences are set to have step keys. No, let's go, where are they? Oh wait, it's out, tangent, step, okay. And let me just make sure playing real time, okay. So here we have my character.
Yeah.
Mute that audio, okay. So he steps out and does this little gesture, right? And in the final version of the animation, let me bring that up as well. In the final version of the animation, there's a lot of overlap on it, and he definitely has a lot of let's see here. He definitely has a lot of, you know, fundamentals built into to this, you know, entire scene here. So let's see here. Actually, where did I save it? Here it is. Okay, sorry about that. So he steps out and he goes, his name, Pierre, bon voyage et fromage. So as he steps out, look as his hand goes across and you see the overlap on the brush. It basically goes from dragging behind right here to ending the pose with a little bit of, actually a little bit of follow through on rotation there as well. That was a good job. Way to go, Kenny. Okay, so how did I know that that was going to be there? Well, I built it in. And it's not very hard. I mean, you guys all know what overlap is exactly, so it's not too difficult to make it happen. So here's one pose, here's one before. So if I'm going to add a breakdown, basically halfway in between, I'm going to rotate this and probably rotate the spine, but also even start with a little bit of overlap on the spine and the head. And bring the arm up. I'm really liking this curve along the hand. We can go even further with it though, bending it a little bit more and even dragging this a little bit more. Let's make sure it's not intersecting anything. Okay. And if you watched me do this in the 24-hour marathon, you probably saw me go back and forth and, you know, just like this, and it's almost like flipping. It's almost like flipping a 2D animation at your desk. Okay. You know, he's leaned way back in this pose, so I wonder if I can get away with even more overlap on the head. It's not very much overlap in the head in the final version, I don't think. Okay, so I built this in, and this might seem like your just average breakdown, you know, breakdown pose, but it was, as you saw me just putting this pose together, hopefully what you saw was I was going kind of halfway on this main controller right here, and halfway kind of in the spine, but then as I flipped back and forth, I looked at the way that, you know, kind of the force is going through this body, and it's easy to do it on the hand, you know, just like the brush needs to be dragging behind, but also on the body, where there's this movement up and to the right, and it kind of leaves the head behind. I'm not sure how much of this I got in the real version. Let's see here. Oh, actually, you know what? I added a head shake, so the head did need to be kind of resolved by the time it got there, but definitely on the body. Okay. And the hand is easy. So I know when I get to this point in the animation, and when I get to the stage where it's time to start polishing and refining and adding even more breakdowns, that this curve on this wrist here, actually, let me just plateau this. At this point, actually, these rotations, oops, don't want to make an expression there. These rotations represent overlap, okay? So I can even, so I probably want to first spline these and smooth these, but also go a little bit closer when it's time to refine. See, this is a little suspicious. Let's see what happens when I bring these down a little bit more in line. That's probably what I wanted there. And here, yeah, that's probably not what I wanted. Let's just see what that does. Okay, so a little bit of smoothing on that. Now I know as this happens that there is a lot more smoothness on this entire thing. Now let me, everything is going to go a little bit mushy because we haven't done an oiler filter yet. Here we go. And now, as you can see, got to fix the range just a little bit right there, but as you can see, as his hand goes across, it has the overlap built in. And I don't now need to go, you know, if this looked like this, right? I don't now need to go into this and say, oh, well, this was just a normal in between. Now it's time to go here, add a little bit of bend right here that's overlapping, and now grab this, and now, oops, now this, and now this is overlapping. And now let's see what it looks like. You know what, it's overlapping way too much. Okay, so I guess this needs to be a little bit higher, but this, maybe put more of it into the wrist instead of the elbow. You know, something like that. You're obviously going to be adjusting it the entire time anyway, but the point is that knowing that it's in there, you get such better control when it's time to polish. Okay. I also said that my poses are basically represent the moment when the pose is like hit for me, like my step keys, and whatever they are for you, you can define them differently, but you do have to define them. So when I look at this and I see that, you know, this stepped key right here, boop, is a big change from this, that means that that's a moving hold in there, okay? So, or a really slow movement, really long slow in, which is what it turns into. So the way I would build in the follow through that's on the wrist that exists in the final version is I would actually do a full body pose, all right? Don't just go like that and boom, now you're done, right? Because that's sloppy. I would do a full body pose, select everything, key everything, okay? And just have the tiniest little bit, just like a breath of settle on this entire thing. And then what you can do is, if it's too much, just let that settle. Just everything is just settling a little bit. Maybe this can be a little bit further down. Okay. And also the wrist and the arm. Did I do the arm yet? I don't think so. Okay. Now, if everything is too much, then you can go back and forth and say, okay, well, that's too much. I'm just going to select everything, and I'm just going to middle mouse drag, and hit S, and now I have halfway of a change. Oops, my bad. Before you do that, you have to turn it off of step mode, because that just copied a stepped key, not an actual spline key. Okay, so here's halfway, middle mouse drag, hit S, and now it's halfway. It's even more subtle. But if I want the arm moving more, I'm going to have the arm move down significantly more, select it all again, and then middle mouse drag, oops, I'm going to watch it, okay, and then I'm going to middle mouse drag and hit S. All right, so now he has just that little bit of settle. So he gets here and then just that little bit of follow through. But as you can see, I built that in the blocking phase. I did just a little bit of a settle, knowing that when I get to spline, I can adjust it. I can go, I have my knobs, I have my little sliders, I can make tiny little adjustments, knowing that I built that in at the blocking phase. Yeah, it's a little distracting when it is a stepped key and you have a full body key, but you should be doing everything full body anyway. Nothing is really isolated. Like, you can't even turn your hand quickly without feeling something like in your shoulders, a little bit like go down into your chest and stomach. Like, I feel this everywhere. If I even just move my hand quickly, and try that. Do what I'm doing right now. Stand up, stand nice and straight, and then just twist your hand and see if you can actually feel it everywhere. And then look at your other fingertip when you twist your hand. You'd be surprised what's going on. So like nothing ever moves in isolation. So the point is, make your blocking give you the most information it can. And the way I've found to do that is to put in the fundamentals. Put them all in the blocking phase. They might not look like what they're going to be in blocking because it's stepped keys, but you give yourself all of that fine control to polish and noodle later, rather than going back over animation that's looking smooth and looking like it's working and then saying, oh, well now I need overlap on the wrist and now I need to overshoot on that moving hold or whatever it is, okay? So that was a great question. Thank you for sending it in. Please send in your questions. I really enjoy them. You can even send me your Maya file. If you have a commercial rig in there, just make sure it's referenced and not baked into the scene, so that I can hand out the animation scene to everybody else. But please send me your Maya files, and I love to see Maya files. It's a really great time. So send more questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. And we'll have a great time. Look out for those announcements regarding the little painter and other great things going on at kennyroy.com. I'm going to be announcing another webcast very soon. Look for that. I appreciate everyone being here. Please tell your friends. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.